upload the stuff for that. But other than that, we're not actually charging you for running that stuff. Your own S3 bucket is your own S3 bucket kind of thing. Now, when you're actually using the rendering, that's when you're actually going to start incorporating costs. Because you're not running your own scheduler, we are running a scheduler. So it's really more about what instances are you using to actually perform the rendering. And so we've got the pricing information on the website about what we specifically charge, but it leverages those AWS services. Obviously, it's going to be incredibly variable based on your types of workloads and whatnot. What kind of licensing? Are you doing Linux? Are you doing Windows? GPU instances are obviously very high in demand. So if you've got like a GPU-based server, then it's going to be a bit different than you say if you're just solely SIGGRAPH. What kind of technologies do you use?
3 Max and Revit. Right?
Yeah. We've heard very, very interesting things about people that are interested in 3ds Max. So yeah, we did build a submitter for 3ds Max. It's definitely something that's.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sorry.
Follow up. So tell me what's going on here.
Sorry, I'm not actually really bringing in getting images, media. Sorry, I'm just doing demos for customers and whatnot. So also be shareable and makes sense across. Yeah.
So is this AWS rendering platform, or like inserted docs to AWS?
So Deadline Cloud itself is built on top of AWS.
Okay.
It's a fully cloud-native service. We provide users the ability to sort of bring their own infrastructure as well. So lots of people have. I'm not sure how familiar you are with managing a render farm or anything like that.
I've used Deadline quite a bit.
Deadline, yeah.
Deadline and all that.
Yeah, all this stuff. Yeah, so it's like, there's this concept that you've got, workers running on render nodes in your own closet type of thing. You've also got AWS, and if you want to burst into the cloud, then you want to be able to make use of it. So we sort of allow you we give you that choice, but we really tried to focus on making that experience of getting started in the cloud really, really simple. So
I think my experience with AWS stuff was more trying to get our pipeline to work for it, I guess. Formats in Maya. It wasn't one to take certain geometry quite right. It seems to all completely changed from the ground up to
and that's specific, per render method, basically, because everybody's got a different way of doing something. So that's sort of a lot of the hope around the job description is that if everybody sort of collaborate and be like, what do we need to do to have a render that's distributed across thousands of cores be the same as if I rendered it locally on my machine? So our hope is that the job description, which basically powers all of Deadline Cloud, is that answer.
I like that a lot more than the previous. Like, oh my god, why are 50 nodes now crashing on me after I just paid for this?
Oh, absolutely. Or if you have your own on-prem, worker nodes and they crash and you have to go into them and see them. It's like, our hope is that it's super easy to just sort of get it to run, and when you're not using it, it just goes down and you're not paying for it.
I think that was our main issue when my previous company tried to implement it. Almost got this working, let's send this job, and then we get 1,000 blank frames back because there's one thing was wrong.
Yeah.
So having a way to make it easier overall sounds.
Yeah, well, and that's the whole, because like customizing those jobs or whatever is meant to be simple. You know, if something is not going wrong, you should just be able to go in here, make some edits, you know, familiar with the job that you're running, and tweak it to get the thing that you want. Whereas like it was very much so far removed from what the artist was doing previously that you're like, how do I actually get this to render properly?
So as far as sending the job to the farm, is it involved with modifying this template here?
Yeah, so well, this is just the basis of it. So I basically made a custom shelf just for SIGGRAPH, basically. And we've got a CLI tool that, you know, based off that template, it generates a UI. And so it turns out I have to log into some credentials, but it's fine, I'm not submitting. But this is really just displaying to you what that job template was asking. What are my job parameters? You know, I can fill these out type of thing, what frames I'm actually rendering, etc. And so previously, you're familiar with Deadline, we had one submitter for each application basically, and you would just, you dealt with it or you customize it or whatever. This is a submitter that's solely based off this job template. So you can make a job template that has exactly what you want here.
So if I had people rendering from multiple different DCCs, it would all be the same template.
And if you wanted to, if it made sense, like your template, you would make multiple different templates for your different workflows. You would, again, the hope is that people post their templates online because that's not what we want like our hope to be. It's like we want to share that stuff. Yeah, open source, collaborative, make it good, basically, because you know there's a lot of different issues with keeping it closed. Like I've talked about, if you ever switch jobs or whatever, you'll never see your work ever again in terms of your pipelining and whatnot. So it's like they have to start from scratch. That sucks.
One quick thing about your interface, does it have to be a range of frames or?
No. So this job, can I just tell you a little bit about this job? It's mainly around rendering render layers and cameras as like each different render layer with each different camera with every single frame that you're doing. And so the way that we do that is there's a section in here called the parameter space. So like, what is my job actually parameterizing on? So in this case, it's just frames and cameras, and I've only got one camera. And so it will then match up each frame with each camera and send that as the workload to your render nets. But you could then change it. You know, the nice thing is if you didn't like the way that somebody had set it up, you could just delete that line item and then, hey look, now it just parameterizes on the frames, it renders all cameras at the time, and then off you go. You know, it's like just small little tweaks, very easy to get the job that you want.
I was just seeing the frame range. It's happened many times in many different jobs where you might have some pipeline error somewhere where, say, every 10 frames your hair disappears because of something.
Yeah.
That's happened many times. So then you need to go pre-render just those every 10 frames.
Yeah.
So modify it in that way.
So specifically this job template, it asks for specific start and end frames based solely on that workload. We also have a deadline cloud submitter or whatever. And in this case, it's still pulled the same, it looks very similar, it's intentional.
You can do 1001, 1000.
Yeah, or you could even do things like, well, I just want to do like every 10 frames or whatever. So you're like, I don't want to overload my farm. I don't want to send full prod, full res production stuff. I need a preview. I need to
show my client lighting right
exactly.
now. Here we go.
Just do these ones. There you go.
Okay, fantastic.
Pleasure.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Nice talking to Morgan.
Yeah. Hey Scott, how's it going?